It's 5 a.m. and I just thought, I haven't really been recording as much as I should, and I've kind of been feeling really sick, so I thought the best thing to do was to make a quick video about something that I kind of had in my drafts, but the audio was fucked up, but I still feel the same way, but it's also kind of like old, but does it really matter at this point? I wanted to talk about the Eugenia Cooney things that were going on and how this has kind of been like an irritating situation for a while now. I felt very strongly about this, which is why I don't follow people enough to barely hear them talking about this. I swear I probably wouldn't have even heard about this happening if it wasn't like slow when it came to news, so it was kind of all over my feed with the people I follow. But yeah, if you don't know, there was a Willie Mack video that basically said what a lot of people have been saying for a while now, but are bullied off the internet when they say it. People have been using Eugenia Cooney for a while now, talking about how she's pro-Anna even though they have no receipt, talking about how she's a danger even though it's kind of contradictory, talking about how terrible everybody is in her life, including her, as they lie, bullshit, and stretch the truth. Now, I felt this way for a while. I think I made one video on it and then deleted that same video because it was a bunch of people telling me that I was wrong as they contradicted themselves, and I'm not fighting with people, not that strongly anyways. Plus, I'm pretty sure that video was early on. My point of saying this is I felt this way for a while now. I'm just gonna say what I have to say, and then I'm gonna end this video, and that's gonna be the end of it. So yeah, fuck was that? I swear it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, why am I hearing noises right now? Even I'm whispering under. Anyways, it's crazy to me that people find Eugenia Cooney as this bad person or this pro-Anna person, but when it comes to Pastel Bells videos, Repzilla, and all the other drama channels that talk about her, I promise you, I've learned more about pro-Anna everything from them than I have from her. Like, I had no idea about the blue butterfly. I had no idea about the fetish shit that they were trying to pin on her. I had no idea those things even existed. Literally, I want you to know I'm pretty sure I have learned, and everyone else has learned, zero shit from Eugenia Cooney and watching her videos. I don't think I've ever learned not one thing about anything about eating disorders, period, from anybody on her channel, ever. I've literally never learned anything about those types of things from her. Basically, they're trying to say that she's doing these things that are actively triggering people and that she's showing off her body, obviously to trigger people and things like that. And then that's the harmful part, and that's the part we should be mad at. And I'm just like, but don't you guys put her in your thumbnails, in your videos? You talk about her, you talk about her body, you talk about pro-Anna shit in general, and that's not triggering to your fans. That's not to say it doesn't trigger people. I get that it does, and I understand it. That's kind of why I don't watch her content, because it bothers me a bit in a different way. But you do have to be responsible for your health, how things affect you, especially when some of these people are adults. You know that this triggers you, which means you should not be consuming any content relating to Eugenia Cooney. So when you're underneath a Repzilla video talking about how triggered you are, you also have to realize that you're actively consuming something that triggers you, and it can't be one for somebody else and another for Eugenia. Like, it can't be that. They're talking in depth about her body and eating disorders and all kinds, and somehow you're not triggered and you're thanking them. Eugenia isn't even talking about that. She's just straight up existing, but for some reason she's the boogeyman for doing that. I don't understand that. I'm sorry if you are triggered by something, or something triggers an eating disorder. That must not feel great, but as someone who's had one, I just don't watch the content that triggers me, and I actively block out that shit. That's why I don't talk about drama anymore. I literally just end up deleting the video because I don't want to put my mental health at risk, and those commentators that are talking should be warning their people, hey, if you're watching my video and you're gonna comment underneath that Eugenia shit triggers you, you shouldn't be watching my shit at all. Please don't watch it. I don't want to do the same thing. And if you're someone younger, let me tell you something that for some reason people don't want to tell you. There is an exit button. Don't watch videos related. Don't watch videos that have anything to do with her. Don't watch videos that have anything to do with anything that bothers you. Don't consume any of that content. You don't have to. Block the person if you have to, but it's not right to try to harass them or bully them or make them feel bad or anything like that when you have the choice to click off. I couldn't handle that myself, so I literally never watched her content. Even when it came to the documentary that Shane Dawson had, I didn't watch that immediately. I believe I watched it a while after it happened because I just wasn't prepared to do that, and I can just tune her out if I feel uncomfortable. It's kind of the same feeling I get when I see mukbang channels. It's like a comfort channel, and I like listening to them, but they're eating food, and that makes me want to eat food. So I just tend to tune those people out, and it's a whole genre which is kind of hard to get around, but at least it's usually in the title or whatnot, so I can kind of ignore it. Hell, even in documentaries and things like that, which I love to listen to and I love to watch, I have to then be selective of those as well. It's not anybody else's responsibility to do anything but just warn me that that content exists. And honestly, you can't say Eugenia doesn't warn you. She is a living, breathing, like, her warning is visible. You can see that she's not well, and so you can turn it off. Like, if you feel uncomfortable by somebody's art, anything, you can't, like, I just don't get it. And maybe for me and the community that I've been around, it just reminds me of like the whole Salem thing again, and how people were triggered by their content and what they made. And it was just like, I felt the exact same way they did. I just never looked at their stuff. Heck, I did a video on them, defending them. And even after that video, I did not follow their account like that. I did not like looking at their art. I did not like looking at that thing that triggered me, because I can take that responsibility and take that initiative to block that out. That's what you're supposed to do. Even then, even if you want to be like, oh, well, they didn't warn me good enough, whatever the case may be, that's kind of life. There are things like, recently, I've been watching American Horror Story, I've been watching new animes, I've watched Family Guy, I've watched South Park, not really that much anymore, not really at all anymore, but I watched those things, and those things have triggering episodes. They have jokes that are made. They have people doing bad things. Hell, even those people show people doing bad things and then nothing happening to them at the end of the day. People have been murdered, killed. There's been specific episodes dedicated to really sensitive topics that they make jokes about, stuff like that. And that type of content, you're not sitting here trying to cancel. You're not making a petition to take them down, and don't act like you can't. Hell, let's be honest. Cleveland isn't being played by a white guy anymore. That wasn't from coincidence. It was because it was for some outrage that might happen that really never, I don't think, did, because no one cares. My point is that you don't see that same outrage when it comes to other outside sources, but you're putting all this pressure on this woman. And then there's a whole thing with her mom, and saying that her mom is abusive and that her family's abusive because they didn't get her help. Apparently, and this is just, take this with a grain of salt, because that's what I'm doing, they were gonna get her help before the whole Jaclyn Glenn thing happened. But even if that's not true, or even if that's, just hearsay, she's a grown adult. You can't have a grown adult, like, you can't keep her out of a cage. And I feel for her parents. Maybe other people don't see it this way because they're like, well, I would do this, that, and the third. But honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, my parents were not the greatest, and the first thing I did was leave. I didn't even have money. I was like, I'll be homeless. I don't even give a fuck. I left. Don't you think her mother is terrified of that? If she maybe does something wrong or tiptoes the wrong way, that her daughter could leave, and she'll have the money and resources to leave, never come back, and then when she possibly ends up dead somewhere, whatever the case may be, I pray that never happens, but whatever the case may be, she won't be there. So she's trying, I'm sure her mother and their family period is trying to be patient with them, but also having to basically step on eggshells to make sure that they're not discouraging her, encouraging her. You know how impossible that is? Everybody can't be Jaclyn Glenn and just yell at her and get mad and whatnot because she's not doing, like, I didn't even understand that whole Jaclyn Glenn thing, honestly. That shit pissed me off, because I'm like, one of your friends in that video with your 3 little friends which you were talking about even said that she's gone through something similar, went through something that was at least enough where she could connect the dots there, unless I'm remembering this wrong. But she said, like, yeah, I didn't like my family after that because that shit is traumatic. But they're still not necessarily Jaclyn, but people are still acting like Eugenia should be grateful grateful, and the fact that people aren't telling her that she should be grateful for her friend and shit like that, it's like, no. It basically says, I'm invalidating your feelings, don't trust me. It's like telling a child who's scared of the dentist that you took to the dentist, oh, shut up, you need to be glad that I even got your teeth fixed. You see how abusive that sounds? This wasn't some rando on the internet, this was her friend, someone that she cared about and trusted and hung out with. Like, I'd be pissed too if someone that I cared about or trust betrayed my trust, especially when I'm mentally fucked enough to where I don't see, or I feel like, or they feel like I don't see that I have an eating disorder. That's not something that you can just like, I guess I just don't know. There has to be something like mentally wrong if you don't see that. Or if it's getting to the point of it's this concerning, or I'm not getting the gravity of the situation, yeah, someone under those circumstances would be mad. At that point, I'm questioning, do you guys not see that she has an eating disorder? Or, because y'all are acting as if she doesn't have like a severe problem right now. Y'all are acting like she just has a normal brain, she's perfectly fine. Like, are you guys the delusional ones? Are you guys the ones that aren't seeing it? Because, what? So again, that's just the shit Jacqueline and them did. That was a one-time thing that they did, because she doesn't want to be their friends after this. You have to think of it of like, you're that person's mother and you have to deal with this the rest of their life. If you're not there, if they don't answer your phone calls, it isn't a thing with Jacqueline where you can be like, okay, well, I can live my life, have my baby, and we're good. That's my child. I have to worry about them. So if they leave because I just sit there and bark at them on how bad they are, or just even step over a line of trust with them, which is so easy in this type of vulnerable state, especially in her mental state, because people forget that her mind is fucked up as well. It doesn't just affect her body, her mind is warped as well. In that type of mental state, you have to be like, okay, well, let me make sure that I'm basically I have her here, she is safe, I try to encourage her, but also not step over a boundary of trust, but also try to like dig a little bit deeper, make sure she's getting help, and also make sure that she still trusts me, so I'm with her through that process, so I'm her rock. And that shit is not easy. This is not that type of disorder to where that type of thing is just like, oh, it's fine, it's easy, it's a simple thing to do. It might be for some people. At the stage Eugenia is, it's not. I feel for her mother, honestly, because especially if you've never had to deal with this type of thing, or this has never even been like a thought for you, it's a brand new experience on top of that, and you're just confused, you're scared, you're frightened, you have people doxing your child, you got people harassing your child, so you have to deal with that extra pressure of trying to protect them in that way. It must be, I would go insane. Most people would just kick their daughter out, and again, that would just send their daughter into a spiral. I don't know Eugenia's personal life, but people pretending as if the evidence that we have paints this abusive picture of her life, I'm like, no, it actually paints the exact opposite. We've seen nothing but love and care given from her family. And yes, that's going to look like enabling because she's not getting better, but that's not how it works. Because someone is not getting better at the time you want them to get better does not mean that it's not improving slowly. Like, it's not a TV show. Something doesn't happen like that. That's not how it works. It takes time, years, like so long for someone to get better from something like this, because they can constantly be like spiraling just because their mind wants them to. It could be no one's fault. It's just how it works. And so it's just frustrating to me that people sit there and it's just like, you're not doing this fast enough, you're not recovering fast enough, you're not getting better fast enough. I hate it, because that type of shit is triggering to me, of like, you don't see someone's progress because it's not at your pace. That is frustrating, and I want to choke people. Not saying her family's squeaky clean, everything's okay. It's just as someone who's had to help multiple friends through eating disorders, that's watched their family go through it, it's just like people are actively ignoring everything, but they're not getting better, which is literally the worst thing you can do in that situation, and it's toxic as fuck. That's all I'm saying. As much as I want to see the best for this girl, and I think that she's being treated like shit, even the Discord shit made no sense. This is literally how it went. Rando messages her with barely any information, like some predators in your Discord server. She's like, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like, what? Huh? Even though she blatantly ignored it, it was like, what was she supposed to do? It was some rando saying some rando message. It doesn't give her much of anything. Finally, someone then sent her more details. When she was able to do it and vet the information was true, she kicked them. Problem solved, right? Apparently not. These are the same people who got multiple stories wrong, who have been low-key harassing people, who butched the whole Bianca Devin situation. These are the same people doing that same shit that have literally peddled misinformation that has almost ruined several people's lives, but they're mad because she didn't kick this person quick enough, even though she did at a pretty decent pace, honestly, from what happened and shit like that. And how you can villainize somebody when you've done 10 times as worse, I don't get that. I mean, not 10 times, but like, you've done several things that are severely worse, and you keep fucking up, and you don't take accountability, but you can villainize someone who is sick. I can't. Like, even if she didn't do it the way that she was supposed to, or she made a mistake, she ended up dealing with it, right? We haven't had problems since, which means that she's being better and it's a safer place, right? So you're just gonna hold that over her head? Is that it? But with all that being said, I just feel like this is another example of let's leave people alone. Let's stop trying to villainize everybody. Everybody's not a super villain, because when you start doing that, you end up being the super villain. All these people end up being the villains in the end. So just how about we just let people live and grow and be better and do better, and we have facts and receipts instead of speculation, and we use our feelings to determine what's fact and that's not how facts work. Facts are facts. They don't change because your feelings do. It's not how that works, bro. I just wish that the community of people that have been doing this type of stuff for a while now, we had drama after drama after drama that they fucked up after fucking up after fucking up, and there's probably just many more people haven't looked into that they fucked up. Like, after all this, they just are like, hey, let's just stop talking. Let's shut up. Let's just ignore this chance for us to look better and just stop, you know? Let's just stop. Because most likely in the end, we're gonna be the bad guys because we fucked something up, because we're not good at what we're doing. You know, after the third time of fucking up a story so bad that probably made someone, let's be honest, if Eugenia isn't suicidal or if she didn't become like just down from this shit, I'd be surprised. Let's just stop doing stories that we end up fucking up to the point where somebody either goes insane like Gabby Hanna, or we're just become like despicable, disgusting people like with Eugenia Cooney. Let's just stop. Let's just not do it anymore. I think it's enough. Let's stick to Karens. Let's stick to Karens and maybe true crime. Let's do that. We don't even do that good, but let's stick to that. I don't know. That's just how I feel anyways. But yeah, sorry that I haven't been putting out as many videos as I feel like I should. A bitch has just been tired, you know? And I don't really like talking about drama anymore. And I know there's something about a zoo file. I just don't want to be in that mess. Because it's just either a bunch of cackling hens repeating themselves in different videos, or it's a bunch of people fucking it up, or it's a bunch of misinformation. And I'm over it. And I want to talk about other stuff, but like those videos take a long time. And while it's fun to edit those videos and I do enjoy it, I know it's like once per week gets kind of like, you know, not so fun. But I'm gonna try. But for right now I'm sick, so I'm gonna go. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.
Just remember this. We could have been stardust, same world but